Day number 6 of Chicago Bears training camp is in the books. The first day with pads on, and we have a lot to talk about. What's going on, guys? I'm back with another Chicago Bears training camp update video, which I'll be doing every single day this year during training camp. So if you guys want the latest updates on what's happening at Chicago Bears training camp, definitely be sure to subscribe to my channel. Today I'll be talking about day 6 of camp. We're already at day 6, almost a week of practice. And today was the first day with pads on, okay? So you can finally hit each other pretty hard. You can finally play real football. And now is when the real football players separating themselves from the pretenders, okay? Now is when you start to see some differences in the levels of play between different players on the depth chart, right? Like a lot of players now are fighting for their football lives on this roster. Obviously, a few players are safe. Like obviously Justin Fields is going to be quarterback number 1, basically no matter what. Darnell Mooney is going to be wide receiver number 1. Robert Quinn is obviously going to be starting. Roquan Smith will be starting. So you get my point, okay? Obviously, some players are safe. Their spots are not in any harm's way, but everybody else, guys, there's going to be competition for them, okay? Wide receivers 2 to wide receivers 6, there's a big competition happening now, you know, in that department, okay? Nobody is proven right now besides Darnell Mooney. If you look at the offensive line, there's competitions happening all over the Chicago Bears offensive line. We change offensive line combinations basically every single day at this point, okay? There's competition at cornerback number 2, cornerback number 3, who's going to play nickel, who's going to play the other opposite side of Jalen Johnson, okay? We don't know any of that so far, and it's going to take a couple weeks now. Well, we have 6 weeks until the opener, so it's going to take 6 weeks to sort that all out and see who's going to be starting for us during week 1. So putting that aside, guys, let's talk about what happened in practice today, okay? And according to reports, guys, it was definitely a better day for the Chicago Bears defense than the offense, okay? The offense had some ups, definitely. They had a strong start to practice. One-on-ones look pretty solid, but those are mostly made for the offense to succeed anyway, so I'm not putting too much stock in one-on-ones. But earlier on in goal line drills, according to a lot of reports, the Bears offense actually looked pretty fantastic. According to Will DeWitt, he said the offense simply dominated during goal line work, scoring on nearly every single play for the entire period. Only saw 2 reps that didn't go in. If you look at what Dan I don't know how to say his last name, but Dan W said, team period here in the low red zone. Bears offense showing a little something with both the run and the pass. Some strong blocking up front to activate the playmaker. So clearly talking about the offensive line doing well there. Adam Johns talked about how with good protection, Justin Fields delivered a strike over the middle to Byron Pringle for a big gain. Kyler Gordon wasn't covered. So clearly good start to practice for the Chicago Bears offense. Okay, it seemed like they had strong blocking for the most part in both the run and the pass. They scored basically every single time aside from 2 reps. So that's a win for the offense, right? I mean, a lot of these goal line drills are built for the offense to succeed, right? Because they're on the goal line, but it's still nice to see the offense taking advantage of that field position and getting the ball in, punching the ball in, you know, into the end zone, because we didn't do a lot of that last year. So a lot of good stuff happening early on in practice, one-on-ones. You know, N'Keal Harry also had a fantastic catch over Kyler Gordon. In one-on-ones, Cole Kmet had a nice catch later on in the red zone. Equanimeous St. Brown also made a couple plays in the red zone, which Equanimeous St. Brown, man, he's been flashing basically every single day now at this point, right? He's been making a couple plays, you know, every day, which cannot be said for every single receiver right now on the roster. And he has been getting some first team reps every so often too. So it's, you know, the arrow could be pointing upwards on Equanimeous St. Brown, guys. I mean, he didn't get much of a chance in Green Bay. I'm sure he got some chance, which didn't work out there, obviously, but he's getting a second chance here in Chicago with, you know, a receiving core that badly needs some talent to step up on it. And maybe he could be that talent that steps up. I mean, he seems super serious in practice all the time. The day that I went, he was not even smiling at all. He was all business, super laser focused. He showed up to practice a little bit early too to put in some time with the jugs machine. So clearly putting in a lot of effort to secure a spot on the Chicago Bears roster. And, you know, I really think that he could secure a spot, guys, because of the performance he's putting together so far in camp. It is super early, obviously. We have to see this translate, you know, on the football field as well in the real games, the real live games, that's going to be coming up pretty soon. Okay, 11 days, first preseason game. We should be seeing a lot of Equanimeous St. Brown and the other receivers as well. So good start to practice, guys. Fields looked okay. You know, at the beginning, the offense overall looked pretty good. The blocking was definitely working, but end of practice was very, very bad for the Chicago Bears offense, specifically the 2-minute drill. Okay, Justin Fields only had 1 completed pass during the 2-minute drill, which was extremely bad. According to Adam Johns, so he said the situation was down 26-20, 120 left, ball on the 20, And then they had 2 3-and-outs by the first team offense, only 1 completed pass by Justin Fields. He also missed a couple guys going down the field. He had a miss to Mooney going down the field, which almost got intercepted by Eddie Jackson. And then also, he had a miss to a wide open N'Keal Harry, okay? Wide open the corner of the end zone, back right corner of the end zone in 7-on-7s. Just flat out missed him, which is obviously not good, okay? Usually Justin Fields does not miss those passes, especially those deep passes going down the field. I mean, his deep accuracy is probably the best part of his arsenal right now. That's the one area where I felt like he was strong in last year, okay? If you look at the deep ball passing numbers among the entire NFL, Justin Fields, on a percentage basis, had some of the most accurate deep balls in the NFL. So I'm not really worried about Justin Fields' deep accuracy long term, but today was definitely a pretty off day. But to his credit, guys, a couple plays later, they ran the same play again, the N'Keal Harry play, and he fooled the defense again, and Fields' throw was on the money for a touchdown. So he did not make the same mistake twice, which is good to hear. But going forward, you want to nail it on the first try, especially these broken plays, right? Like that first play to N'Keal Harry was a broken play that you have to take advantage of if you are the quarterback, because it's going to be hard enough to move the football as it is for our offense. You have to absolutely take advantage whenever the defense, fails to identify a guy going down the field. So not a very good end to practice for the Bears offense. Adam Hoke talked about this. He said that a lot of focus on the 2-minute struggles for the Bears offense, and rightfully so. It's been bad the last 2 days. But that said, I thought the offense looked really good in the live goal line period today. 1s and 2s consistently scored, a lot of good play design. So there was a lot of bad at the end of practice, but a lot of good at the beginning as well, which I feel like a lot of Bears fans have to take into account. Okay, obviously right now, the Chicago Bears defense is going to be ahead of the Bears offense because it's that way in basically every single training camp. Okay, if you go around, look at the training camp reports for basically any team in the NFL, basically all of them have the defense making more plays than their offense. Okay, I checked the Broncos Twitter feeds and they're going wild about Russell Wilson apparently not having a good practice. Guys, he's Russell freaking Wilson. Obviously this early in practice when he's trying to learn a new system against pretty solid defense, he's not going to be lighting them up in the early stages of practice. I'm not trying to say that the Bears offense is anything close to the Broncos offense right now, or that Justin Fields is as good of a quarterback as Russell Wilson is, but I'm just saying, be patient, okay? We're not the only team having struggles on the offensive side of the football right now. If it's still happening in a few weeks, which it very well might. I mean, I don't know if the Bears offense is going to be good this year, but yeah, then you can freak out a little bit and, be a little bit upset that the Bears offense might not be that good this year. But right now, it's way too early to be saying anything, okay? It's only day 6 at camp, and the defense is usually always ahead of the offense. And another thing I want to say, guys, is that I feel like the Bears defense anyways has more talent on it than the Chicago Bears offense, okay? We have, our first 2 picks of this year being defensive guys, secondary guys. We have Robert Quinn, who had 18.5 sacks last year. We have Travis Gibson, who had a very underrated, quiet but underrated season last year, which, a lot of fans don't talk enough about. So clearly more talent on the defensive side than the offensive side, which is pretty annoying for most Bears fans because it's been this way our entire lives. But I'm still optimistic given time the Bears offense can be a lot better than they're getting credit for at this point in camp. So that's a report about the offense. Good start, pretty bad finish. Hopefully that improves going forward. I do want to talk about Luke Getsy's play design still a little bit before I move on to the defense, because it seems like according to some reports, he's taking advantage of a lot of the stuff that Justin Fields does pretty well and the attributes that he has as an athlete. So according to Clay Harbor, he said that Getsy is utilizing some design quarterback runs in short red zone goal line. Picking up the extra blocker is huge down there. Big fantasy year for Justin Fields. So if you're into fantasy football, guys, maybe pick up Justin Fields, because like Clay is mentioning here, I can see a lot of opportunities for him to get some rushing touchdowns this year, because in goal line situations in the red zone, you got to use Justin Fields' speed to your advantage, guys. He's a 4.4 player, okay? He's one of the fastest quarterbacks in the entire NFL. So you would be crazy to not use that to your advantage, okay? Especially when your offense does not have crazy amount of playmakers on it at this point in time, proven playmakers, that is. So, good to hear Luke Getsy really taking advantage of what his players do the best, because that's one area where our last coach clearly did fail. But moving on to the defense, I'm talking about some plays that the defense made. So I want to start by talking about Al-Quadin Muhammad. Okay, Al-Quadin Muhammad, the defensive end that we signed from the Colts, he's been having a very strong camp up to this point, guys. Okay, according to Will DeWitt, he also had more pressure today. He had what should have been a sack on third down. Obviously, you can't hit the quarterback, but basically got a sack on Justin Fields. And now he's up to 5 or 6 sacks now in the last 3 days. He's been getting insane amounts of pressure. And today, guys, pads were on. So this means a lot more than the previous practices did, but he's still going out there and, dominating against our offensive line. He could get a decent amount of playing time this year. I don't think he's going to be a starter on this defense because I view Travis Gibson and Robert Quinn as more proven things than, Mohamed has been, but he could be a solid rotational guy, okay? Every once in a while, go in there, get a sack on third down, and that will be good for the Bears defense, okay? Having great pass rushing depth in Mohamed and also Dominic Robinson as well. Dominic Robinson has not had too many splash plays so far, but a lot of people are still pretty high on his potential long term. So pass rush guys look pretty good today. Got solid pressure on Justin Fields basically the entire practice, especially the second half of practice. Talking about the secondary now though, the secondary also had a pretty strong practice because for the majority of the 2-minute drills, there was basically nothing open for Justin Fields. Yeah, they had a busted coverage in the back end, but Fields was not able to hit N'Keal Harry, so that didn't count against the defense. And aside from that play, they were pretty rock solid on most of practice. According to Clay Harbor, he said that not that I'm worried, but it's been an extremely quiet day for Darnell Mooney. Tavon Young has covered him well a few times. So good to hear that, guys, out of Tavon Young. Okay, this guy was a pretty underrated signing coming over from the Baltimore Ravens. He was signed for a pretty cheap deal only because he gets injured basically every single year. But whenever he's been healthy, he's been playing at a pretty high level in this league. So if he can stay healthy, fingers crossed, the Bears could have another solid member in the secondary because shutting down Darnell Mooney is no easy task, okay? He basically gets open whenever he wants to. He's one of the best in the NFL at creating separation on his routes because of his speed and a lot of other factors. So good to hear that Tavon Young had a pretty strong day covering Darnell Mooney. Jalen Johnson is also feeling pretty confident, guys, right now in camp. So in his press conference, he said that the Bears defense so far in camp has not lost a single day yet. So love to hear the trash talking, guys, out of cornerback number 1. I mean, Jalen Johnson is always super competitive. He wants to win in practice basically every single day. So no surprise that he thinks the Bears defense has been doing well so far in camp, which they have been, guys. Okay, for the majority of camp, the Bears defense has been ahead of the Bears offense, which hopefully changes going forward because we don't want to see a repeat of the last few years here in Chicago. And then finally, guys, I do want to end on a punter update, okay? I haven't talked at all about the Chicago Bears' new punter, Trenton Gill, that we drafted in the 7th round. According to Will DeWitt, he had a pretty strong practice today. He said that Trenton Gill consistently punted the ball 50 yards from his own 20 down to the opposing 30, mostly towards the sidelines with plenty of hang time too. So good to hear that, guys, out of a rookie punter, because a lot of times rookie punters struggle a little bit in their first year as they get used to, the new ball in the NFL and the NFL pressure as well. There's a lot more pressure in the NFL punting than there is in college football. So good to hear though that, Gill's been having a pretty strong practice punting wise, but obviously we hope that we don't see him that often this year because I don't want the Chicago Bears to be punting that often in 2022. But those are pretty much all the updates I have for today's practice. I'll be back again tomorrow as usual for more updates on Wednesday's practice. If you guys are going to Wednesday's practice, definitely hit me up on Twitter with updates, photos, videos, whatever you get there. Hope you guys have fun if you go, but hope you guys enjoy the video. Leave your comments down below, and as always, bear down.